It's lights out and away we go. It's a good reaction from Charles Leclerc. It's a better reaction from George Russell, though. And Russell already alongside that Ferrari with Daniel Ricciardo ahead of Pierre Gasly, and Norris has lost places. Into the first corner we go. Charles Leclerc ahead of George Russell, who gets pinched and has to go over the rumble strips. Comes back on behind the Ferrari, and also going off Zhou Guanyu and Kevin Magnussen. The crowd roaring as the Ferrari leads them through the Curva Grande, and that's Max Verstappen right on the tail of Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri as they make their way through that chicane without too much trouble. As into the Ascari chicane we go with Charles Leclerc from George Russell, from Daniel Ricciardo, and there is Max Verstappen up into 4th place. He started 7th. We're not even at the end of the first lap. He's already made up 3 places. Here comes Max Verstappen on Daniel Ricciardo. That Red Bull has straight line speed and he's showing it to great effect. Didn't really need the slipstream. He's already side by side with Daniel Ricciardo, late on the brakes into that chicane. Max Verstappen is up into the podium places. The Parabolica not easy to follow close to the car in front, even with the changes in downforce and turbulent air this season. 35 metres it was. Verstappen is gaining. It's down to under 20 metres. It's down now to absolute level pegging. Through to the chicane we go. Max Verstappen is ahead of George Russell, and he has put that Red Bull up into 2nd place. There goes Carlos Sainz on the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel. Wants the Ferrari, darling here at Monza this weekend, racing here for a final time and being overtaken by the Ferrari. 11th place now for Carlos Sainz, who is moving through the field very nicely indeed. Further ahead, there's a bit of a DRS train. There's one Aston Martin before the Parabolica, and there's one Aston Martin before the chicane. The carriage towards the rear is Carlos Sainz, and Sainz has got a bit more straight line speed than some, and as you can see, he is quickly closing down Fernando Alonso, and this is going to get a big round of applause from the Tifosi here, because Carlos Sainz is putting on something of a wonder show for Ferrari fans this afternoon. Vettel, who has found a gap but in the arm coat to stop his car by, he is out of this race, and there's an Aston Martin stranded by the track.
Stop the car, please, when it's safe. Stop the car when it's safe.
So will they consider putting out a safety car, which will then mean we get a lot of pit stops?
Here goes Carlos Sainz on Pierre Gasly. Sainz, meanwhile, puts his Ferrari into the top 5, and there's a virtual safety car. The virtual safety car has been deployed. So Leclerc's coming in, Ted, and Mercedes are waiting for George Russell. George Russell is making his way down the main straight, so they've done the opposite, as it's now green flag.
Medium tyres, Leclerc.
Yeah.
To the end. Medium tyres to the end.
Now he's going to have to babysit those a little bit to the end of the Grand Prix. Sainz comes through on Ricciardo.
And you can hear how much the fans are loving Carlos Sainz's action this afternoon. 4th place now for Carlos Sainz.
George Russell will be interesting now, because I don't see anybody out there really going that fast on the hard compound tyre, and it's mediums that have gone on to who was the leader, Max Verstappen.
Very difficult to follow closely behind the car in front, and he's going to have to make up those tenths of a second once more with a bit of help from DRS down the main straight. But he seems to have got a really good exit out of the Parabolica, and as you can see, is gaining on the Alpine. Now he's gaining. Is he going to go for it down the inside? Lewis Hamilton is, and before they apply the brakes into that first chicane, Lewis Hamilton is ahead and up into 6th place. In for the soft tyres, he comes back out onto the track. Max Verstappen leads once again this race, 2.6 seconds. There is George Russell in the distance. Charles Leclerc comes out then ahead of George Russell.
This stop needs to go very well. He stops well on his marks, and that's a little bit slow on the rear. There's more time going on the rear. The brakes are smoking, but eventually Lando gets away. I think he'll be okay. Couple of seconds drop there, but I think he'll be okay.
He's back out onto the track, Lando Norris. Now, is he going to stay ahead of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo? He's going to slot in, hopefully for McLaren, ahead of Pierre Gasly. This is really, really tight. Gasly goes through, and Lando Norris loses a place there to Gasly, and Lewis Hamilton on the scene says, thank you very much. I've got new soft tyres. I've got a lot more grip. I'll get past Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly. Dispatched earlier in that, on the previous lap, Nick de Vries. And Hamilton now up into 7th, motoring along quite nicely. Daniel Ricciardo under pressure. from Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton up into 6th. Norris has got ahead of Pierre Gasly. Leclerc's finally switched on those soft compound tyres, and there goes Lando Norris past his teammate Daniel Ricciardo and up into 7th place. And the Haas hasn't quite got the speed there down the straights to try and get past the Williams, but under braking, Schumacher locks up, trying to force his way through, gets very aggressive through that chicane, but in a very nice way. Mick Schumacher locked up, looked to have lost control a little bit, but he absolutely kept control, and he makes the place.
Yeah, it was good. And he locked the wheel, but he cranked some steering lock into it, and but immediately gets repassed. But cranked some steering lock, and the car obediently turned into what's a very tight corner.
And this battle is going to continue on. Latifi got ahead and into the Lesmos. Mick Schumacher just gives it a little wiggle of the rear, and during that wiggle forces the Haas past Nicholas Latifi. Daniel Ricciardo got a problem. Yes, he has. Engine problem for Daniel Ricciardo. Now he is parked in between the 1st and 2nd of the Lesmo corners. We are surely going to get a safety car here. Now we are going to get a safety car. So the top 2 have gone through. George Russell is now right at the entrance to the pit lane and has come into the pits. So Mercedes have nothing to lose, they think, by getting George Russell into the pits. Will they do the same with Carlos Sainz at Ferrari? Yes, they will. So Russell will hold position in 3rd place. But if we get this race going again, George Russell is going to be on the fresher tyres behind Leclerc and Verstappen. Here comes Max Verstappen, and to make his pit stop, we might yet finish this race behind the safety car.
We do not gain position if we stay out, so stop this lap.
It is possible that the race will not restart. They won't be able to get this all sorted out before the 53 laps concludes.
And we will finish the race behind the safety car.
Come on. It's clear, come on.
Yeah, copy.
Max Verstappen is seeing the safety car disappear, and he's heading around the Parabolica for what will be the 30th win of his career, and a win that mathematically means he could win the title in Singapore next time out. It's a 5th consecutive win for Max Verstappen. Behind the safety car, he wins the Italian Grand Prix. He will stand on the podium at Monza for the first time in his Formula One career.
Very lovely, mate. Great race set again.
There you go, boy, clean night. Wow, wow, thank you very much. This has been incredible. Points on debut, thank you.
Great job.
Great job, Nick. Fantastic. You're so much deserving.
Thank you, Jos, thank you, much appreciated. My shoulders are dead.
It finished behind the safety car. It perhaps was an unsatisfactory ending for many, as we like to see action all the way to the checkered flag, but Red Bull and Max Verstappen won't mind that at all. It's another win on their seemingly unstoppable march to a world title or 2 in 2022. Max Verstappen wins the Italian Grand Prix.